All right, radio check, radio check. I should be live. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the live stream. It's been, I think, 3 weeks with no Formula One. This is this is 1 month since we've had our last Grand Prix weekend, and here we are at COTA. We have got. Yeah, very, very exciting weekend up ahead of us. Quite a lot of upgrade packages have been brought this weekend, so it'll be exciting to see the effects of those. Yeah, here we go. All right, we've already got 160 people that have tuned in. That is fantastic. Very much is appreciated, folks. All right, so we are... Oh, I haven't got the countdown timer on screen. Here we go. Let's just turn that on. Practice starts in 11 minutes time. All right. So yeah, practice starts in 11 minutes time. It is a sprint weekend, so we'll have practice right now, and then we will have sprint qualifying in a couple of hours time. Then we will have the sprint race tomorrow morning, and then we will have the actual qualifying, and then of course on Sunday we will have the race. So those are the timings. Well, those are the sessions that we're going to have. The timings are a little bit different for quite a few people, of course. Normally the races are around about 4 hours earlier than this, and the practice sessions 5-6 hours earlier than this. So yeah, a couple of people are going to have some bad time zones, but it's going to be all right. All right. Hello everyone. Hello Harley. Hello Martastic. Murray Connor. Pacau. Yeah, I didn't know you were doing live for FP1 and FP2. Well, I'm only doing live for FP1 because there is no FP2 session this weekend. It is sprint qualifying. And yeah, I'm at university now, but I have of course got a little bit of time. No lectures as of now, and because of that, I can do the practice sessions. Okay. Hi, Fungamer. Can you explain the sprint? The sprint is pretty standard. The sprint is just another race. It will always be 1/3 of the race distance rather than the full 300 kilometers. It'll only be 100 kilometers. And yeah, there's a separate qualifying session for it, which is slightly shorter than the normal qualifying session. And the drivers don't have to pit. That is the other thing in the sprint race. But apart from that, there is not much else to it. Just another race, essentially. Yeah. First Grand Prix with no Daniel. Yeah, it's been a very, very long time since we've had a Grand Prix without Daniel Ricciardo taking part. And yeah, sad to see him go, really. Now, Liam Lawson has replaced him. The bottom banner is still Singapore. Actually, I forgot to update the bottom banner. That is... in fact, you know what I'll do? I will probably just hide it for now. Because, actually, I might as well just... I'll try and change it while we go. But yeah, no, I was a little bit busy before I started this stream, and that's why I was a little late. And yeah. Right. In fact, I will just hide this for now, and I'll fix it in a little bit of a break. All right. Will you do lives for the races if you're at uni? Yeah, I can definitely do the weekends. The Friday sessions are a bit of a questionable decision, but for now, I can do the Friday sessions as well. All right. Yeah. The bottom banner is of Singapore. Yeah. What else have we got? I hope RB made some games. I missed the Dutch national anthem. Well, Red Bull have made... They were meant to bring a very big upgrade package this weekend. However, that has not materialized. I don't know exactly what's gone on at Red Bull, but there was talks of a very big upgrade package being bought for Austin, and that hasn't arrived. And the same thing could be said for Ferrari. Fred Vasseur, the team principal of Ferrari, was talking quite a bit about how there are going to be upgrades coming for Austin, and you know, the fans and the drivers will be prepared, and the teams are preparing the final bits of the upgrades now. And all of these things were being said, and Ferrari and Williams are the two teams that have brought 0 upgrades this weekend. So everyone else has brought upgrades, some minor, some major, but Ferrari and Williams have brought none whatsoever. for FIAs leaving us to speculate as ever cheating or not cheating. Yes, I will get into that. Let's just wait for the practice sessions to start, the drivers to get out onto the circuit, and then we'll get into the sort of the questionable legality of the Red Bull car. Yeah, we'll wait and see. All right. Hey, how are you doing? I'm doing pretty well, actually. Yeah. Glad that Formula One's back, and it'll be great to do some commentating again. What are your predictions for the sprint / the race? Well, I'd have to wait for the upgrade packages firstly. I have to wait for the upgrade packages for the drivers to do some laps in them, and then I could maybe make some predictions on what is going to happen. All right. 6 minutes, though, till we have the drivers come out of the pits for the start of the session. Didn't RB bring a new wing and floor? Am I mistaken? I think Red Bull did bring a new front wing. However, the floor that they did bring is not being used. I don't know exactly why, but yeah, they apparently brought a floor and then have decided not to use it on the upgrade package. They haven't declared the upgrade to the FIA, which means that they can't use it. So yeah, it's a bit interesting. Is that Ricciardo a mistake? No, currently on the screen we have got the FP1 timings from last year. In 5 minutes times, once the data comes through, we should have the FP1 timings of this year. Right, in fact, let me see if it has come through. Oh, there we go, it has come through. Right, let me just get rid of this data, last year's data, there we go, and we have got this year's data up on screen. That is fantastic. All right. Hello, London, OG London girl. We are back indeed. All right. Where is the cheating? I'm so confused. Yeah, it is a little bit of a confusing one for the Red Bull team. It's quite difficult to explain as well, but I'll get into it just a couple more minutes into the session. We've got to wait for a couple more people to arrive, but I think we've got 500 viewers now. Folks, if you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. It massively helps out the channel. I think you guys have hit the like button. There we go. It's updated to 145. Yeah, do you think Piastri, Norris, or Leclerc will be able to beat Max? Well, given the entire season, maybe so. This season, though, it's going to be a lot tougher, and Verstappen will have to, Norris and Leclerc will have to have some good luck on their side. Verstappen may need a DNF if he's going to lose this championship. But the Red Bull car is, the McLaren car is quick, but it isn't so much quicker than the Red Bull, and isn't so much quicker than the rest of the competition that it's totally guaranteed that they're going to win. So, yeah, we'll wait and see what happens. Yeah. Right, but there we go. We have got Liam Lawson replacing Daniel Ricciardo. There we go, number 13. That is Lawson instead of Danny Rick. Very sad to see Daniel Ricciardo go. But this is the way that things go sometimes in Formula One. I think they could have handled the goodbye a little bit better than they did. But it's just the way things go down at Red Bull, and yeah, it's very, very unfortunate. They should have announced it, maybe a week in advance, and then Ricciardo would have known for sure, the fans would have known for sure, rather than having this air of uncertainty that was surrounding the whole Singapore Grand Prix weekend. Yeah. I heard somewhere that from Daniel Ricciardo's fastest lap, if Lando loses another race, he loses the World Championship. No, that is factually incorrect. I think if Norris wins every single race and Verstappen comes second in every single race, because of Daniel Ricciardo's fastest lap, Verstappen will win the championship by 1 point, but that's not going to happen. Let's be realistic here. Norris isn't going to win every race. Verstappen isn't going to come second in every race either. We're going to have a lot more action with Piastri and Leclerc and Sainz and Hamilton and Russell all getting into the mix. Ferrari haven't brought any upgrades, but Mercedes have brought very major upgrades, and so have McLaren. So we shall wait and see if the Mercedes are able to fight now with the McLarens and if with the Ferraris, because that upgrade package that they brought seems very, very major. Right, what time is it for you? It is 6:28, and we'll have practice starting in 2 minutes' time. Is it practice 2 or practice 1? It is practice 1. We're not going to have a practice 2 this weekend. It is a sprint weekend. Thoughts on Alex Albon? Well, Alex Albon is going to have... He's been outperforming his teammate, of course, Logan Sargent, and now he's up alongside Colapinto. He's doing a pretty good job. And I think the true test of Alex Albon will be next season. When Carlos Sainz gets into that Williams, will Alex Albon be able to match him? Because we know, when they all came through as rookies, when was it Norris, Russell, and Albon all came through as rookies, they were all pretty level playing field. I think they came first, second, and third in the F2 championship. And what we saw was that Albon was reasonably quick, but of course not as quick as Red Bull would have liked, and hence because of that they let him go, and he's at Williams. So now the true test of his abilities will be, is he able to match Carlos Sainz? Carlos Sainz is very, very experienced. He's won a race last year, and well, he's a quick driver and he's a good benchmark. So if Alex Albon can, keep up with Sainz as a good benchmark, then that would be fantastic for him. If not, though, then that could spell trouble for his career. If he, gets destroyed by Carlos Sainz, then it could be like, then it could essentially just say that, Alex Albon is only really quick in a backmarker car when his teammate isn't all that good, and that's not going to do well for his career. So, it's next season will be make or break for Alex Albon. But as of now, he's doing pretty well. Yeah. All right. I think someone just said, what did someone just say in the chat? This may sound rude, but you sound so British. I love it. Well, I do live in the UK, so I guess that would explain it. And I'm from India, and I never understand why Indian people come into the live chat and say love from India. I've never heard from love from Greenland or Zimbabwe. Why only India? Well, I don't know. I guess there's a lot of people from India. The population's pretty high, 1.5 billion or something, a little bit more. Roy, please explain how the sprint weekend works. The sprint weekend works by we'll have one free practice session, which is going to start in a couple of seconds now. Then we'll have a sprint qualifying session, which will happen later today in a couple of hours' time. Then we will have a sprint race, which will happen tomorrow at around about the same time as now. So in 24 hours' time, we'll be having a sprint race. And then we'll have the normal qualifying session as a couple of hours after the sprint race. And then on Sunday, we will have the normal 300-kilometer race that we normally do. So that's how a sprint weekend works. Only one practice session, so the drivers have really got to focus and get the setup right. It's a little bit difficult with the teams bringing so many upgrades. Normally, the teams do want 3 practice sessions to sort of gather the data for the drivers to get a feel of the car, to bring the setup into the sweet spot for this upgrade package. Because as you bring a new upgrade package, what happens is the aero balance of the car, the suspension, all of these different things get slightly tweaked, slightly modified, and because of that, the optimum setup changes ever so slightly, and hence the drivers should, hence the teams and the mechanics need to get a feel for where this new setup optimum is, and then they can use that on the car. So one practice session is going to be very difficult for the teams that have brought upgrades. It could be a matter of, that you totally mess up the setup and you could be terrible for the rest of the race weekend, or it could be something else. But the green flag is out and we have got drivers making their way out onto the circuit. We've got Norris, Alonso, Stroll, Ocon, Hulkenberg, Bottas, Leclerc, Gasly, Magnussen, all of the drivers coming out ASAP. And that is simply because the drivers only have 1 hour of practice. They need to do all of the install laps. They need to do all of the setup changes, all of the upgrade checks. And then they can get into the run plans and get a feel for the tyre wear and all of these other things. So that is, yeah, that's what's going to happen in the next hour or so. All right. Hello, Spectre X and MCG. Nice to see you guys are here. Right. Yeah, everyone's coming out pretty quick. Just the standard stuff really for a free practice 1 session. All right. You know what I'm going to do, folks? Give me just 1 minute. I'm going to update the text on the bottom banner currently on the screen. Currently at the bottom of the screen, it was the Singapore GP text. As it says at the bottom, it says, rumours suggest Liam Lawson will be announced after this Grand Prix weekend. That Grand Prix weekend was 1 month ago. So let me just update the bottom banner. I'm going to have to mute my mic. And I'll be back. Right, there we go. That has been updated. Oh, why is it like this? What has gone on there? It's a little bit. Let me just shift that over to the right. All right, very nice. Yeah. So, what are the odds of Max switching teams after the season? I think they're pretty slim. He's got a contract till 2028 with Red Bull, and the fact that Red Bull aren't, they're not horrifically slow. Maybe they've had a bit of a downfall, and I think a good upgrade pack, a good winter season should bring them right back up into the fight. So, and exactly where is he going to leave his team to? He could go to Aston Martin, but are they going to kick out Stroll? No. Are they going to kick out Alonso? Probably not. You've got Norris and Piastri. They aren't going anywhere. You've got Antonelli and Russell. They've been confirmed. So, I don't know. I think it's fairly unlikely that Max is going to switch teams. All right. 1,500 people watching. That is fantastic, folks. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. I'll be commentating the rest of the session as standard. Not the rest of the session, the rest of the race weekend as standard. And All right. There we go. We have the first couple of times coming up onto the screen. We've got Ocon, Bottas, Norris, and Hülkenberg. They're all in the 138s, 139s, even 140s there. Hülkenberg in the 144s, but he is doing an install lap, or just doing a very slow out lap. And yeah. Right. Colapinto had a moment. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. They're on cold tyres. The drivers haven't driven a Formula 1 car for a couple weeks. They're going to make a couple of mistakes here and there, but it'll be all fine. Interestingly, everyone's coming out on the hard tyres except for Zhou. Zhou's coming out on a set of softs. I guess the reason he's coming out on a set of softs is because the team know that they're probably not going to make it through into Q2, so they might as well give Zhou some time to practice on a set of soft tyres in preparation for qualifying. I guess that makes fair enough sense. Those Merc upgrades are landing well so far? Yeah, well, I mean, we're 5 minutes into practice, the drivers are on pretty high fuel. But yeah, the Merc upgrades, they should work pretty well. Their recent track record with upgrades has been going well, so it should not be too big of an issue for the Mercedes team to get this upgrade package on and hit the ground running. Ooh, look at that. Charles Leclerc, purple in the first and second sector. He's pushing a little bit there on a set of hard tyres. He's got no traffic ahead of him. And as he makes his way through turn number 14, 15 and 16, it is a fantastic sequence of corners there. That extremely long right-hander, the front left really starts to feel the pain. And then he flicks his car through the final two corners. Just a tap of the brakes and then and flicks it into 19 and then a little bit more braking. Norris gets out of the way and across the line goes Charles Leclerc. It's a 136.7. Track evolution is going to be very, very key. Oh, you guys got ads. Let me pause those. All right, thank you for letting me know. All right. Yeah, track evolution is going to be quite significant this weekend because, especially in the sprint qualifying session, given that the drivers will only have 1 hour to drive around the circuit, yeah, track evolution is going to be enormous. And that just spices up sprint qualifying, what can I say? We'll have the usual 2 DRS zones at this circuit, one coming down the main straight and one coming down the back straight. And what else have we got to talk about the circuit? I don't think there's too many changes that have been done to the Grand Prix circuit. There's always a couple of tweaks here and there on the exit of turn number 9 because there's always a balance between pleasing the MotoGP drivers and pleasing the Formula 1 drivers, but no major changes to the circuit. I don't think the DRS zone has been lengthened or it has been shortened. It's just the same as it was last year. The first sector, as always, very, very high speed, and the drivers are just flicking the car left and right, and it is an absolute wonder to watch those cars. They look like they're on rails, essentially. They are stuck to the ground with a tremendous amount of force, and the drivers are piloting the cars so fantastically through the first sector. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Norris through the middle sector, he has gone purple, and here he comes out of the final corner. Now he gets a bit of a tow off K-Mag, and across the line it's second place for Lando Norris. And yeah, the middle sector at this circuit is pretty much just that back straight, and then the first couple of corners of the slow speed section, turn number 12 and 13. Actually, no, the middle sector is just the straight, I think. It's not just a straight, sorry, from the exit of turn number 9 to the hairpin and then the straight. So yeah, you've not got too many corners in the middle sector, and if you are quick in the middle sector, that indicates that you have got a fair amount of top speed. So yeah, the McLarens are looking fairly decent. That being said, if we look at the speed traps, Ferrari have gone 2 kilometers an hour quicker through the speed traps than the McLarens have. So I don't think there's too much to read into just yet, but that's a great lap from Carlos Sainz on 4-lap old hard tyres. Across the line he goes into first position. Albon across the line, 4th place for him, and we've got Sergio Perez on a flying lap. There we go, he's 4th position for him. All right. The gap between Norris and Leclerc. Oh yeah, 1 millisecond there between Norris and Leclerc. Very, very close indeed. I mean, maybe it's a sign of things to come. The McLarens have got even more upgrades. The Ferraris haven't got any upgrades. So in theory, the McLaren should be a significant chunk faster than the Ferraris. But, you know, in theory and in practice are two totally different things. They may be related occasionally, but only time will tell if those upgrades work for McLaren, or do they take them in the wrong direction. Piastri across the line, 6th place for him. George Russell, fantastic lap, a 135.8, and he goes up into 4th place. Very nice. The radio feed is frozen. Oh yeah, there we go. Let me just give that a quick refresh. Hopefully that fixes itself. How many laps do they do for FP1? Typically, the drivers normally only did, if it was an FP1 session where you had FP2 and 3, the drivers would only do 18 to 20 laps. However, this weekend, they will probably be doing a couple more because this is the only practice session that they have got. But yeah, there's no set amount of laps. It's just 1 hour, and the drivers can do as many laps as they can fit in. All right. In fact, let me just close that radio box and I'll restart it. There we go. Hopefully the radio should come through. Why is it not an FP2/3? It's because we have a sprint weekend. The next stream after this is going to be for sprint quali, and that's why we've only got one practice session. All right, everyone has done their first couple of laps now. Oh, we got a yellow flag. Who is that? Where even is the yellow flag on the circuit? I'm a little confused. Never mind, that has been cleared up very, very quickly. I don't know what that even was. I think maybe someone went off towards turn number 11. It was apparently an Alpine that caused that. Or it might have been Ocon at turn 11. Just going a little bit deep into that corner. Yeah, locking up at turn number 11 is quite easy. You are on a downhill at turn number 11, so locking the front brakes is fairly, it's a lot easier than you normally would be. It's a lot easier to lock your brakes. Oh, was it Gasly? Okay. Well, it was one of the Alpines, and yeah, locking your brakes into turn number 11 is actually quite easy. I think on the F1 games as well, it becomes a little bit easier to lock up. But yeah, the drivers do have to be wary of that. However, at turn number 1, because it's an uphill part of the circuit, locking your brakes is a lot harder. So that is, fun fact. That if you're going uphill, braking is easier, and if you're going downhill, braking's harder. I mean, I think anyone who's driven a car will know that, because, of course, the gravity helps you slow down when you're going uphill, and the gravity helps you speed up when you're going downhill. Okay. Look at that. Nico Hulkenberg quickest through the speed traps, 330 kilometers per hour. He must have had a bit of a toe there. That is, I think, 4 or 5 kilometers per hour quicker than the rest of the field. Also, something to watch out for, Liam Lawson. This is his first weekend in Formula 1, and unfortunately, he's only got one practice session before he goes straight into qualifying. It's going to be very, very tough on him. Of course, Oliver Behrman was in a similar scenario here in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, where he stepped in for Carlos Sainz for when he got appendicitis in FP3. So Behrman had around about... how much time did he have in FP3? I think he had just an hour of FP3, but because there was a red flag, it came to 45 minutes or something, and that was it. So yeah, all right. The radios have just gone black, and Valtteri Bottas has got a radio that says thank you very much, but no more radios apart from that. Interesting. Alpine is blue. Yeah, Alpine is normally blue. They have a couple of special liveries that are pink, but most of the time it is blue. Right. Will you be streaming sprint quali? Yes, I will be. Yeah. It's in a couple of hours' time. How much time is it in? I think... I don't actually even know. I've just got a reminder set on my phone for when I need to start streaming. Yeah, sprint quali I think is in 4 hours or so. In 3 hours and 45 minutes. Yeah, 3 hours and 45 minutes. That's the start of sprint quali. Right. Oh, congrats on the 100k, man. Thank you very much, Arnav. That is very much appreciated. Yeah, it's been a roller coaster. 4 years, 4 years, 5 months, and yeah, the channel hit 100k. It's fantastic, really. All right. What else have we got going on the circuit? Not too much, really. Nearly all of the drivers are out on the circuit, apart from Hamilton and Hulkenberg. They must be getting some setup tweaks done, because you don't want to be wasting any sort of time in this one practice session that they have got. So yeah, I suspect it's setup tweaks for both Hulkenberg and Hamilton, and they probably won't be front wing. They're most likely going to be rear wing tweaks. or some suspension tweaks, because this circuit is it's a little bit bouncy, and the other things is that you do have to take the curbs quite aggressively, especially in the first sector, going through all of those high speed corners. Not cutting the corner, but driving over the curbs significantly reduces the radius and the amount of turning that you have to do, and hence you lose less speed, you carry more speed through the corners, and essentially it makes driving over the curbs a requirement. So the setups and the suspensions and the shocks all have to be set up according to that, and yeah, the drivers have to be wary of not letting the car bounce too much, and the engineers have to be wary of that as well. Oh, when are you going to flaunt that silver play button? Oh yeah, the silver play button arrived. I actually forgot to post about it on the community post. I took a photo of it and I was going to post it, but I remembered and then forgot about 4 times in 4 consecutive days, and I will probably do it tonight if I remember once again. Yeah. I don't know why the radios are frozen. The last radio message that I've got is Valtteri Bottas saying thank you very much, but I've just refreshed it now and it's listening for more radio messages. So, yeah, we'll see. All right, can we see it now? I haven't got the photo on my laptop, unfortunately. It's on my phone, so yeah, I would transfer it over, but yeah. I'll do it for the next stream. Good weather, all weather. Oh yeah, apologies. I wrote that in a hurry. It's good weather all weekend. Let me just fix that. Good weather all weekend. Oh, we've got another yellow. Someone going slowly there. That's Russell. Russell's had an issue. I think that will just be a spin. Yeah, turn number 1, there we go. He's moving again. He's had a bit of a spin on the exit of 1. We've seen it happen, I think, last year's race or the race before that. One of the drivers did have a spin coming out of turn number 1 on the opening lap. And it's quite easy to do, really. It's a hairpin. You get on the power just a little bit too early and you're already dancing over the curbs. And that loss of traction is very significant. It's very quick. And the car does a nice 180. Okie dokes. 100k stream. I don't know exactly what you mean by 100k stream. And normally, there's not much. What would I put on the screen? I could have the little waveform of my voice going up on the stream, but no, I think I'll do a Q&A at some point. Yeah. Why is Red Bull under investigation? Right. Well, now's a good time as any to get into this. So Red Bull have been they're under investigation from the FIA. They're going to be monitored a little bit more closely this weekend than they normally are. And essentially, the problem down at Red Bull is that in parc fermé conditions, you're not allowed to modify the setup of the car. The only thing that you're allowed to modify under parc fermé regulations is the front wing angle. And I think there's one other thing. Oh yeah, you can change the brake bias, but you can normally do that from a steering wheel, so that's fine. And the only other thing you can change is the front wing angle. However, it has recently leaked or has got into the media somehow that Red Bull do have another piece of the car that they can modify under parc fermé conditions that shouldn't be allowed in the regulations. And apparently they have been doing it or they haven't, I'm not sure. But there was an investigation sort of done into it by one of I think it was racefans.net, one of the journalists there, dug into it a little bit more. And the key takeaways from the sort of, the bit of the investigation that's going on is that there is a screw that they can adjust near the pedals of Max Verstappen's car, or Sergio Perez's car. That being said, at the pedals of one of the Red Bull cars, you can make some changes, and you can tighten or loosen a screw, which will adjust the height of the bib, which is, I think, something that's part of the floor. It's just at the leading edge of the floor, essentially. And you can adjust the height of that through the footwell of the driver's from the driver's pedal area. Now, there is a screw there that allows you to do it. However, I think you have to take apart the front nose cone, you have to take off a couple of panels, you have to take off the pedals, and then you have to adjust the screw. And I think it's fairly unlikely that the mechanics would have been allowed to do that under park firmware conditions without anyone else noticing. The Formula One paddock is a very busy place, and because of that, the mechanics probably would have, been seen if they were modifying, if they took off the front nose cone, a couple of panels on the front nose, and then adjusted some things and then put everything back together. It's quite unlikely that they would have done that without anyone spotting them. So I don't think Red Bull are under any sort of real threat of being disqualified or having points taken away from them or anything like that. It is just one thing that happened to be the way that they designed their car, is that there is a screw that is partially accessible from the driver's cockpit that could adjust something in theory. However, in practice, Max Verstappen isn't going to be able to turn a screwdriver with his feet while halfway through while he's racing. So it's a little bit of just pointless stuff, really. All right. I've just joined. So what's your opinion on Ricciardo to Lawson? Well, I think Lawson is a fairly decent driver. He deserves a chance. However, the way that they let go Ricciardo probably wasn't optimal. They could have done a better job of that. But Ricciardo, he had come to the end of his career. He really wasn't delivering the kind of performances that Red Bull wanted. If they are going to keep an experienced driver in a junior team, there's got to be a good reason for it. He's either got to be developing the car in some crazy way and allowing the team to progress up the field very, very quickly. He's either got to be doing some exceptional performances and scoring surprise podiums and things like that, or, just getting into the top 5, top 10 consistently. But none of that was really happening with Daniel Ricciardo, and the junior team is there for the sole purpose of giving junior drivers an opportunity in Formula One without having the full pressure of being at a top team. And well, to serve that role, Daniel Ricciardo had to go. Liam Lawson had to come in. I think the way that they could have done it was the way that they did it was a bad way. They executed it pretty badly, but what can you do? It's already happened now. What happens to Team Radio? Unfortunately, folks, the Team Radio looks to be broken for today. I would like to fix it, but I don't have any control over that. I will try once again to see if I can get it to work, but it is looking more and more unlikely. So apologies for that, folks. Yeah, unfortunately, it does not look like we're going to have any sort of team radios for this weekend as of now. Actually, we'll probably have it for Spring Quali 2 once once whoever's written this code figures out why the team radios aren't coming through. I'm sure that something has just changed. Like there's probably a little code that needs to be adjusted, and then everything will work. But I think that'll only happen either tonight or between sessions. How is the engine situation for the top teams? When can we expect grid penalties and for whom? I don't think we'll be getting any grid penalties this weekend, as far as I can tell. Most of the teams have taken precautions already. I think, say Monza or Spa, I think we had a grid penalty or two for the drivers just taking an extra engine because... Well, at Monza, of course, it helps. And the other thing is, if you take the penalty at Monza, then you don't have to take it at another circuit, which means that essentially the teams have, I think, 3 internal combustion engines for the season. And if they take 1 penalty, they get 4. And essentially they can use all 4 and they'll be fine for the rest of the season. So I think I don't think we'll have that many penalties, if I'm being totally honest with you, especially not this weekend. How is Zhou slower on soft? I think Zhou is running high fuel. I think that's what he was doing because given that this is a sprint weekend, the teams are pretty limited for time. And because of that, they have to make some adjustments to their run plans and things like that. So Bottas is the one gathering data on medium tyres. Zhou is gathering data on soft tyres. And they'll be looking to sort of see, will these soft tyres potentially last the entire race, the entire sprint race distance? It's 100 kilometers. So can the soft tyres do it? Can the medium tyres do it? Or will we have to stick to the hards like everyone else is already trying out the hard tyres? So, yeah. Will Red Bull be penalised for the system found in them? I don't think they will. For them to be penalised, they would have to. The FIA would have to like go back through the records and figure out if Red Bull ever actually changed anything, which is considering, which I think is highly unlikely in the first place. But if they did, the FIA would also have to find a way to go back and actually prove that they changed something, and then a penalty could be awarded. They can't just give away a penalty because there is the potential for them to break the legality of Parc Fermé. Yeah, Lawson has a 10 place grid penalty. Yeah, well, I think I think a couple of the drivers at the bottom half of the grid will take some penalties. However, the top teams probably won't, given that the championship is fairly tight. And Liam Lawson, it's a good way to just stay out of the picture for your first Grand Prix weekend. Get a 10-place grid penalty, start at the back of the pack no matter what. Unless you get through into Q3, which would be a miracle for Liam Lawson. Start at the back of the pack, just do your own race, focus on getting to grips with the car, and then, next weekend out in, is it Brazil, I think, next weekend? Let me just double check. Is it Brazil? Oh no, it's Mexico City next weekend. So yeah, get ready for Mexico race, Mexico City. All right. Also, folks, we've got 2,900 people watching the live stream. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. But if you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. Massively helps out the channel. And yeah, that would be very much appreciated. All right, we've got Verstappen out on a set of soft tyres. We've got 32 minutes left to go of this session. Verstappen coming out nice and early on the set of soft. Is he going to be doing quali sims? I can't exactly tell because there is no fuel gauge on his car. So we'll find out if he's on a high fuel run or a low fuel run soon enough. All right. Best bets for pole. I guess you could say Norris. You could probably say Verstappen, maybe Piastri. I don't think Ferrari are going to be all that quick this weekend. They don't have any upgrades, whereas McLaren, and Mercedes, and Red Bull, all three of them do. But maybe their car just works really well at the US Grand Prix circuit. We don't really know. How important is pole here? How many overtaking opportunities are there? Well, overtaking opportunities are quite plentiful actually at this circuit. You've of course got turn number 1, and then you've also got turn number 11, which is a potential overtaking opportunity if a driver makes a mistake through the first sector. It is quite easy to make a mistake through there. You hit the curbs ever so slightly wrong, the car twitches a little bit, you lose a bit of time, and going into turn number 11 we've seen a couple of overtakes happen. And then turn number 12 and the little complex of slow corners after it is the real overtaking chances and the real battling chances. So pole isn't all that important. The DRS coming down the back straight will be pretty critical as well. So that'll be another thing to watch out for. See how the drivers manage that. Yeah. I don't think pole is going to be the be all or the end all of this race weekend. How long or short is the sprint race? It is 100 kilometers, and unfortunately, I forgot the number of laps that the sprint race was going to be. I thought I had it in my head, but no, I forgot. So let me just, I'll just Google it now, and I shall let you guys know. All right. It is, I think it's 19 laps. Yep, 19 laps for the sprint. Thank you for the information in the chat, folks. And here we go. Paris also out on a set of soft tyres. Is Max Verstappen on a bit of a push lap? I think he is. Look at that. Purple first sector. That being said, he is on soft tyres, so it was going to be quicker than his first sector on his hards, but yeah, look at that. Purple first sector from Max Verstappen. He is pushing nice and hard. We'll have Sergio Perez starting a flying lap very, very soon as well. All right. Let's stay on board though with Max Verstappen. He heads downhill towards turn number 11, hits that apex very, very nicely. No locking up on the front brakes there. And then onto the power he goes, shifts up into 8th gear, opens that DRS flap, and then charges down that straight towards turn number 12, braking at the 70-meter mark. And they slam onto the brakes, trail brake all through into that corner, and then slowly pick up the power as you go into the complex of slow corners of turn number 13, 14, and 15. He's got a bit of traffic ahead of him, but nonetheless a purple middle sector for Max Verstappen. And he gets some very nice traction as he comes out of turn number 15. Bottas gets out of the way, and Verstappen is hitting all of those apexes on a fresh set of soft tyres. He has got so much grip, flicks the car to the left at turn number 19, and now he goes towards turn number 20. The final corner of the circuit hits that apex nicely onto the power so smoothly, and it is first position by 1.111 seconds for Max Verstappen. Wow. That is, well, it's a great lap, and the fact that he's ahead of Charles Leclerc by 1.111 seconds is also very, very interesting. All right, we've got Charles coming out. He is out on Charles is out on a used set of tyres, used set of hards. I think Sainz is also out on a used set of hards. Yeah. Who else? Let's keep an eye on Sergio Perez this time. He will probably be slower than Verstappen, but let's see just how much slower. We've got Sainz, who improved on his lap time, and he goes up into second position. And Perez and Sainz do the exact same lap time. What a coincidence! This has been happening far too often in the past in this season. Really, I've been commentating for 4 years now, and it really hasn't happened all that often. But here we are. The season is so much closer than of previous years, and we're having drivers doing the exact same lap times quite frequently, at least once a weekend. And yeah, Perez on a set of softs, Carlos Sainz on a set of old hards. Not exactly the most comparable thing, but yeah, Perez is in third place. All right. Oh, nearly everyone out onto the circuit now. Only Russell, Norris, and Hamilton left in the pits. And it looks like everyone made their first couple of setup tweaks. So everyone did around about 10 laps or so, then came into the pits, changed the setup, put some more fuel into the car, and then now have gone out on the same set of tyres that they did their first stint on, which they'll probably drive on for another 10-15 minutes before they come back into the pits, put on a set of softs, and get ready for the sprint quali happening in 2.5 hours. No, 3.5 hours. Yeah, 3.5 hours. Well, 3 hours, 25 minutes to be exact, but yeah. Why is Red Bull under investigation? They're under investigation for potentially breaking parc fermé regulations by modifying their bib height, which is a part of the floor right at the front of the car, under parc fermé regulations. You're not allowed to do that, but maybe Red Bull... they have the ability to do so. We don't know if they've ever done it. It's highly unlikely that they've ever done it, but the FIA are just going to investigate the situation a little bit deeper, probably produce a bit of a report, and then say, oh yeah, this thing is banned, by the way. Red Bull, you've got 1 week to fix it, or something along those lines. All right, what's wrong with Hamilton's car? Nothing really. He's just come out of the pit lane now. I think he was one of the last drivers to come out of the pits at the start of the session. He was one of the last drivers to come into the pits in the first round of pit stops, and he's one of the last drivers to exit the pits. All right. Yes, both the 63 and 44 cars spun at the same corner, settling into the car. Yeah, this is the thing. They have brought upgrades this weekend. Mercedes have brought huge upgrades this weekend. And those upgrades, they modify the aero balance of the car. For any of you folks that haven't heard of the term aero balance before, it's sort of a distribution of how the downforce is created in the car. So if you've got a front heavy aero balance, then a lot of your downforce is generated on the front wing, more so compared to the rear wing. And then if you have a rear heavy rearward balance, you've got a lot of downforce being created by the rear wing and the floor of the car rather than the front wing. And when you bring an upgrade package, it tweaks the distribution, and the drivers want it in a certain place. And because of that, we see a couple of spins, maybe some understeer, things like that. All right. But Perez back out onto the circuit. He's still out on a set of softs. Norris also out on, comes out of the pits, and he is on a set of hards. What happens if Red Bull is caught cheating? Will they get a driver penalty? I don't know, actually. I think they'll get points docked off their Constructors' Championship. I don't think the drivers themselves will get a penalty because the team has made a mistake. But I'm not 100% certain on these rules. I haven't read the entire FIA rulebook. And yeah. F1 Gamer, can you please answer my question? That is, why are almost everyone on hards instead of softs? The reason for everyone is being on hards instead of softs is because we're at a sprint weekend. And in sprint weekends, what happens is you have 6 qualifying sessions in total, really. So you have SQ1, SQ2, SQ3, and then Q1, Q2, Q3. And because of that, the drivers are fairly limited on the number of soft tyres they have available to them. And essentially, because they are limited on the number of soft tyres that they have, and they want to use them in the qualifying sessions and nowhere else, they have opted to use the hard tyres for the practice session instead. Yeah, it's just because they have a limited number of tyres from Pirelli per car. They opt to use the hard tyres in practice and the soft tyres for qualifying. Yeah. All right, Verstappen on another flying lap purple in the first sector. This is on a 4-lap old set of tyres, but nonetheless, the car will have got a little bit lighter, and that should help him out. He comes down the back straight now, no one ahead of him to give him a tow. So again, accurate read for the top speed of this Red Bull as he comes through the speed trap, 325 kilometers per hour for Max Verstappen. Oscar Piastri, no, Piastri's on a slow lap, so let's not look into that lap time or that speed trap time. Then, he makes his way through the middle sector. He's got, once again, Alonso ahead of him for traffic. But Verstappen's dealing with this car very, very nicely. He's a bit slow in the middle sector. Looks like he made a slight mistake as he was going through there. Alonso gets out of the way for turn number 19. Verstappen flicks the car in. And now he goes towards turn number 20, the final corner of the circuit. And across the line he goes. Does he improve? No, he does not. He's a tenth slower than his previous lap time. And yeah, that goes to show we are going to have quite a bit of tyre wear this weekend as well. The soft tyres wearing off after one lap. Verstappen admittedly did make a small couple of mistakes here and there, but the soft tyres are really only optimal for one lap, and trying to do 2 laps on them is, going to compromise you in the qualifying sessions. So the drivers will have to be wary of that, and so will the engineers. Right. What else have we got going on here? Not much, really. Not all that much. Oh, 3,000 people tuned into live stream. That is fantastic, folks. Thank you everyone for tuning in. How is Bottas? 8th. Bottas is 8th because he's on a set of mediums. Everyone else is on a set of hards. The pace difference between the mediums and the hards is around about 0.4 of a second. F1 Gamer, can you move the white line 3mm to the right? I think you're asking that so you can see the speed trap times. Let me just make a couple of adjustments here so you guys can see the speed trap times as well. Right, there we go. Hopefully that isn't too small of a font for everyone to read. I know a lot of people are watching on their phones, and because of that, it might be a bit of a tough read. But I know a lot of you guys are also watching on TV. So, it's a bit of a compromise that works for everyone. Can we see radio? I mean, I would love to show you the radio, but the radio system unfortunately isn't working today, and because of that, no radios have been coming through. Sorry. Right, 19 minutes remain of this practice session, and we have got, and yeah, we've got nearly all of the drivers out on the circuit. We've got the 2 Red Bulls at the top of the time. Sergio Perez did improve on his second lap by a couple of tenths of a second, and then put himself up into second place, but albeit he is still 7 tenths behind his teammate, and yeah. Just the numbers were fine, no need to display the kilometers per hour. Yeah, it seems a little bit awkward if you, I don't know, it just seems not awkward, it just seems a bit weird. I don't particularly like the look of it having the kilometers cut off, so we'll just keep it like that. Why isn't the F1 stream like the actual race? Well, firstly, we're not in the actual race, and secondly, this is, I can't show the actual race otherwise. Otherwise, I'll get copyrighted. Yeah. Defo global issue with the radio. They're checking. All right. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, the drivers having. Well, the F1 TV are having some issues with the radios. Maybe they're doing it because Max Verstappen keeps swearing over the radio. I don't know. But Verstappen is still on his little mini protest of not answering interview questions properly because they've given him community service. You can decide of that what you want. But yeah, I don't think swearing should be that big of a deal, really. So I don't know why the FIA are complaining. What else? What are your thoughts on sprint weekends in general? Well, see, this is the thing. Sprint weekends, they are fantastic in some regards. They, when there are fans that are well, essentially, it gives access to more people to watch races, and there are more interesting sessions that fans can watch. Normally, you have 3 practice sessions, which are all a little bit boring, then you have qualifying, and then you have the race. So there's only really 2 sessions that the fans want to go to. Of course, some fans do want to see practice, but in reality, the big main spectacle is the race and is the qualifying session. So the sprint weekends, they add to that, and the fans that get to go to the circuit, they are in for a treat because they get to watch 2 races, 2 qualifying sessions, and they only have 1 boring sort of practice session. However, I would say there are a couple of downsides, of course. It just means a lot more work for the mechanics, a lot more work for me personally as well. If I wasn't commentating practice sessions, if I wasn't commentating Fridays, I would have to, my throat starts hurting pretty badly, but I would say that's the least of anyone's concerns, really. So yeah, sprint weekends are pretty good for the fans that are there, and realistically, Formula 1 is for the fans. It gives them more action to watch, so it's good, but I don't think it should be done every single weekend, because the typical Grand Prix format is there for a reason, and yeah. Alright. Let's see what else have we got in the chat. Haas will probably be soon doing their qualifying simulations. Yeah, with 16 minutes left to go, and we've got quite a few drivers in the pits, they'll be taking off those hard tyres and going into soft tyres for the final runs. Yeah. Very interesting. P1 was hoping for McLaren domination. Well, McLaren still have been driving around on hard tyres all of this time. Both of the Red Bulls are out on softs, so that kind of explains a bit of a pace difference there. And admittedly, 2 seconds isn't just a tyre compound difference, but it is also a fuel difference. The McLarens will most likely have more fuel in their car compared to the Red Bulls when they were doing their qualifying simulations. So the 2 seconds isn't just the tyre compound, it's tyre compounds plus the lack of fuel, which means the lack of weight. And yeah. Can you answer my question? Why doesn't F1 or Sky Sports stream F1 live? Because if Sky Sports put the thing on YouTube for free, then nobody would buy Sky Sports, and Sky Sports would make no money. And yeah, so that's why Sky Sports don't stream it for free on YouTube, and that's why Formula One doesn't do it either. All right. They do broadcast live. You just have to pay a premium price. Yeah, essentially, yeah. What are your predictions for the season finale standings? Um, Season finale, I'm probably gonna say Verstappen first, Norris second. It's a little bit boring, but I think that is what's gonna happen. And then I don't really know for the rest, to be honest. Yeah, unfortunately, if I did, then I would have been placing bets, but no, unfortunately, I can't really do the rest of the predictions. Why does F1 not race at Hockenheim anymore? Money. Money is the answer to most of the problems that Formula One is facing right now. Well, not Formula One, and not all of the problems, but yeah, they don't get they don't get paid enough by the Hockenheim ring circuit. Normally, if other events, how it normally works for other motorsports is that they have to pay to race at a circuit, whereas for Formula One, because it's so prestigious, the circuits have to pay Formula One for Formula One to come and race at those circuits. So because of that, they and as we know quite what happens is in the Middle East, like Saudi Arabia, the Qatar and whatever, they have loads of money to throw around. So they throw it at the FIA, or not the FIA, they throw it at Liberty Media, and then they say, oh yeah, we'll race at Qatar or we'll race at Saudi Arabia, and Hockenheim Ring and the Nürburgring and Paul Ricard, all of those circuits get dropped. Very, very unfortunate. Yeah. There should be something to fix that, really, but as long as Liberty Media are getting paid hand over fist for racing in Qatar, then that's what's going to happen. Do you think F1 will come back to India again? Well, I think the MotoGP is going back to the Bud International Circuit in Delhi. So if MotoGP are going back, then that does open the door for Formula One to go back. There will be, I'm sure once MotoGP goes there, there'll be loads of fans going there, loads of economic activity and all of those related things. And, the councils, the local governments will like that, and all of the media coverage, etc., etc. And then they'll be like, oh, maybe if we pay an extra, whatever it is, 5 million or something, then we can also get Formula One over here. And maybe Formula One will return to India. But first, I think MotoGP will have to return. And then once MotoGP returns and they see a couple of the benefits of having, races at the circuit, then Formula One will return. Right. Okay. What else have we got going on? With everything going on in the world right now, expect more changes for where races are going to happen. Yeah, probably. All right, but let's get back to let's get back to this action on the circuit. As of now, we have got a couple more drivers out on on soft tires. We've got Albon out on softs, Hamilton, Zhou, Colapinto, they're all out on softs. Sorry, Zhou isn't out. Zhou's in the pits, but I think he'll come out on a fresh set of softs, maybe, or maybe he'll do it on a mediums. I'm not 100% sure. But Verstappen and Perez, they're out on softs, but they're still using the same set of soft tyres that they were using earlier. So no fresh tyres for the Red Bulls as of now. And we'll have the Mercedes drivers, they'll be pushing, and we'll see what they can do. In fact, Russell's still out on hard tyres, and Hamilton's the only Mercedes driver out on softs. But I think in the next couple of minutes or so, we'll see a lot more soft tyres. There we go. Stroll and Lawson and Alonso all coming out on soft tyres. Oh, we've just got one team radio message coming through. And that is B Ballil offset plus 100 to Lewis Hamilton. And apart from that, no more team radio. There we go. We've got another team radio message. Looks like it's working. Actually, it's not. The exact same team radio message has been sent to Lawson, which is very, very unlikely. All right. Why is McLaren not pitting? I don't know. I guess they are just so confident that they are. No, I don't think it's that. I think they're just going to come out in that final 5 minutes and just do one hot lap rather than two. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the radios here. B-bell offset plus 100. And then understeer at turn 80 and oversteer at turn 90. I think that probably means turn 18 and turn 19 rather than 80 and 19. 80 and 90. Yeah. All right, please answer my question. Do you think McLaren fumbled the upgrade? It's far too early to tell if McLaren have fumbled the upgrade. They're doing some hard run sims now. Norris has finally come into the pits. We'll find out if they fumbled the upgrades in a couple of hours' time. In fact, in 3 hours' time. That's when the sprint quali starts. All right. Yeah, here we go. We've got all of the soft runs coming in now. Track temperature 35 degrees, air temperature 25 degrees, not too hot out there in Texas, and the drivers will be able to manage for sure. 35 degrees is really not that hot, so the tyres shouldn't be overheating too much towards the end of the lap. We have seen this in the past. In the first sector, the drivers really heat up those tyres, and then they cool down a little bit in the middle sector. But as they are going through turn number 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, the tyres really start to feel the heat, and then especially in the final corner, they really drop off. But given that the track temperature is slightly lower than it typically is in Austin, we probably won't see too many of those issues. F1 Gamer, do you think we can see an inter-team rivalry between the McLaren drivers? Yeah, for sure. I think we've already seen that sort of start to happen at Hungary when Norris was instructed to give the position back to Piastri for the race win, but he wasn't listening. We also had a couple more occasions of those battles starting to brew. However, this season is probably not where they're going to boil over. I think next season, if McLaren are the fastest team, they'll have a handful on their plate, really, because they're going to have Lando Norris, who is by no means a slow driver, and they're going to have Oscar Piastri, who is getting quicker and quicker every single race weekend that goes along. So it's tough to say what will happen for McLaren next year, but for now, I don't think there's going to be too much in the team rivalry. Also, folks, if you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. It massively, massively helps out the channel and would very much be appreciated. Look at that, Carlos Sainz purple in the middle sector. Very nice from him. 5th position as of now. We've got Lawson with a quick time going up into 3rd place. Hamilton in 2nd. Lawson only a 10th off Hamilton. A very nice lap indeed from Liam Lawson. I suspect the fuel will probably be slightly lower in Lawson's car than in Hamilton's car, but nonetheless, Lawson had a good first qualifying simulation in that Racing Bull. Sainz across the line, 1st place for him. Not too much to read into here, folks. This is, of course, practice, and Sainz may be a quarter of a second quicker than Verstappen, but Verstappen did his lap time around about 15 or 10-15 minutes ago when the circuit was not as rubbered in. So track evolution has helped out Carlos Sainz significantly there. All right, Alonso goes quicker than Hamilton. A very nice lap there from Fernando Alonso. Yeah, not too much track evolution difference between Alonso and Hamilton, but Alonso manages to get ahead by a small amount. He may have had a tow, as I don't really know. Albon across the line, 7th place for him. And we've got Russell on a... Russell was on a flying lap, but he made a mistake going into turn number 1, so he's aborted it. Charles Leclerc, he is on a flying lap. He's green through the 1st sector. Through the middle sector he goes, and it is once again green for him. But it is looking like a mightily quick lap for him. He's got no traffic ahead of him, but virtual safety car has been deployed. I don't know if that's a virtual safety car test or if there's been an issue, but everyone seems to be lapping around just perfectly fine. So this may be a virtual safety car test. Yeah, there we go. Virtual safety car ending, and it was just a test. I think maybe there was some debris in the pit lane. I'm not 100% sure because they closed the pit lane entry. But yeah, virtual safety car ending, track is clear, and Charles Leclerc's hot lap has been totally ruined by that virtual safety car. Yeah, I mean, we haven't had a safety car in like 9 races now, something ridiculous like that. So I guess they're just testing the systems, making sure everything works properly, because they haven't used it in over like 3 months or something. Yeah. All right. Oh, we've hit our like target. I guess I can pop that up to 1,000 likes. Maybe we've only got 3 minutes left of the session. Oh no, 5 minutes left of the session, but might as well try. All right. Oh, and we're getting pretty close to 106,000 subscribers as well. Fantastic. All right. Yeah. F1 Gamer, do you think they will? Do you think we'll ever see a race in Vietnam as they planned in 2020? Maybe. I don't know. I think they did end up building the circuit. I think the circuit in Vietnam was part. It was part circuit, part street circuit. So yeah, part normal racetrack, part street circuit or something. So if all of those, the changes that they made to turn the normal street into a street circuit, if those are still replicable and if they can still do them now, then money is the only thing that's holding them back from a Vietnamese Grand Prix. So yeah, we shall see if that happens, but I haven't heard any sort of rumors of that. Yeah. Why do they put the green color paint on some cars? That is FlowViz paint. It's what it does is when the teams bring upgrades to the car, they have CFD tools which allow them to visualize and simulate the airflow around the car. However, you can't simulate real life completely perfectly, and the teams do need to check if the simulations are working correctly, and because of that, what they do is they put on this sort of layer of paint onto the cars, and then they send the cars out onto the circuit. They drive around, and what happens is the paint splits into little droplets of paint, and they move in certain directions. They may move up the car, they may move down the car according to what the team want, and the team have a look at that, and then they say, oh, this is what we predicted in our simulation, and this is exactly what's happening. This is fantastic. Everything works as expected. If not, if the simulations say that it's going to go up, and in reality they only go horizontal, then the teams have got some work to do. They've got some changes to make before they can, successfully deploy that upgrade package. So it will be FlowViz paint for one of the teams. I'm not sure which team used it, but yeah, that's the green paint that you'll see. Okay. What's your favorite car on the grid as of now? I don't know. I would say maybe the Ferrari car. I don't think we have any super special liveries or anything like that. If McLaren brought back the chrome livery, that would be awesome. But I don't think they've done that as of yet. Oh, the Vietnam circuit was heavily invested by a businessman who is on trial for corruption right now. They froze all of his accounts. Sadly, I don't think there'll be a race in Vietnam. Well, thank you, Robert Schmitz, for the information. And yeah, that's very, very unfortunate. It would be great to have another race in that part of the world. All right, K-Mag, fantastic lap from him up into 4th position. Well, he was in 3rd position before Piastri knocked him down into 4th. But, we always see one of these Hasses managing to drag. One of the Haas drivers always managed to drag the car into the Q3. It is astonishing. I think this weekend it may be K-Mag. Oh, look at that. The 2 Ferraris in 1-2. Both of them going quicker than the Red Bull. Piastri managed to go purple in the middle sector, but still not quick enough to get ahead of Verstappen. And if we have a look at the speed trap times here, speed trap speeds, Piastri was actually going 321 kilometers an hour through the speed trap. That was not quick whatsoever. The remaining drivers, Lawson has just hit 330 Ks through the speed trap, and everyone else is doing 328, 326. So McLaren are around about 5 kilometers an hour down through the speed traps. I'm sure they could change that. They tweak the rear wing angle ever so slightly, and they'll get that top speed back. But yeah, it's interesting. And Norris, he did 3:25, so maybe it's just Piastri. Piastri may have opted for a slightly higher downforce setup. And that is why he has got a bit of a reduction in top speed. Lawson has got a new power unit. That also explains the extra power that he's got. I don't know if he's actually taken that extra power unit as of now, but he will be taking a grid penalty for the race because he is taking a new power unit. All right, 3,400 people tuned into the live stream. Thank you everyone for tuning in. This is the end of FP1. The first driver to take the checkered flag was Nico Hülkenberg. At the top of the timings, we've got Carlos Sainz. Second place, we've got Charles Leclerc. Third, we've got Verstappen. Fourth, Norris. Fifth, Piastri. Sixth is Hamilton. Seventh is K-Max. Eighth is Alonso. Ninth is Sonoda, and 10th is Nico Hülkenberg to round out the top 10. Thank you everyone so much for tuning in, and now I'm going to redirect you guys to the sprint qualifying stream. So if you guys could just click the like button on the sprint qualifying stream, press the reminder button as well, that would massively help out. But it's been a pleasure commentating to you guys, and I will see you in 3 hours time for the start of sprint quali. The stream will start in 3 hours 15 minutes, or maybe 3 hours and 3 hours full stop, but yeah, 3 hours, 15 minutes, and the stream will be live. So I will see you shortly. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and yeah, just hit the like button on the next stream. Oh, in fact, let me set up the redirect. I forgot to do that. USA Sprint Quali. There we go. And all right. Cheers, fellas.